All right, guys, I'm doing the dual video again, so let me get my glasses on so I can see everyone's comments. And I can't see everybody that's on there. I don't know why. It always shows me. It only shows me like 4 or 5 people, and then later I see there was more people. So, okay. All right, just running around, making sure they all don't get out. All right, you guys, that's Parker. That's something you just have to ignore in the beginning. Anyway, what I want to talk about, I don't know how easy that's going to be to ignore. And that's what you have when you have animals that don't have any idea what they want out of life. Just frustration barking. And you really can't reward it or say anything. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is the shake off. Because I see it all over the place. I just saw a video yesterday with it. I see it all the time. And I'm just going to tell you guys, and I've seen it in my own dogs. I'm going to go post that video. Hey, girl, let me know, Courtney, if you're seeing the shake off. And it doesn't have to be with an electronic collar. They do it with a pinch collar, too, and everything else. But, I mean, since I just don't know anything about pinch collars or choke chains, I'm just going to stick to this. Because they could do it with any tool. And I'm just going to tell you, if it happens, you better be aware of it. Hang on, I'm going to have to put Crash in her cage, or this squeaky dog is just going to not stop. Listen, little moon doe, you can't play right now. You're too playful. You're too playful. You're too playful. Anyway, sorry about that, you guys. So, if you're activating the electric collar and this dog is shaking its head either during the activation or afterwards, you've created a problem. OMG, I'm going to have to put this animal outside. Hang on, I can't listen to that. I wish I would have had a video, because he just gave me the shake off going out the door. And if you said, why did he do that? Because of conflict. That's why they do the shake off. And if you said, well, I've never heard of that term. Go to any little league, baseball, football, whatever. When these kids get knocked down, the coach says, shake it off. And that's what dogs are doing. When they have internal conflict, they just externalize it with the shake. So if you're activating the collar and they're doing it, or they're doing it after you activate the collar, you've created a problem. And you've got to go back and do an analysis and figure out where that came from, or it's never going to go away, and it's going to be cumulative, and you're going to suffer blowback at some later point. Because if somebody, I want you to think of it, Courtney, let's just use you as an example. Somebody at work just constantly says annoying things, and you just, all day long. Am I wrong, girl? Not that this really happens to you, but just say you're at work and there's just this annoying person that's constantly maybe giving you backhanded compliments, or, telling you didn't do something. And so you're just, yeah, eventually that's going to lead to something else. So that's why you have to address the shake off immediately. And if you said, what dogs can you name of yours that have it? 2. And I'm going to try to find that video of Bronson. That was an extremely Lou. I don't know if you're watching, but yeah, that dog had an extreme shake-off reaction to any activation of the collar, even the pager. And I trained it when it was young, and it didn't do that. I need to go back and look. If it did, I didn't see it. So honestly, with that dog was telling me, I don't even, I'll do whatever you say. It wasn't even like that. He was such a smart dog. And then the other one that did it was Scarlet, the Siberian Husky, because I noticed it in a recall video. And I said to Mark, what is the head shake? And he said she always did that. So, I can at least blame the owners for those two dogs. I noticed it after they came back into my possession. But if you've got a dog that you're the only person that's ever activated a collar with the dog and it's doing the shake off, you've done something wrong. You've done something wrong. And what you did wrong was really not have the dog in the right frame of mind. It wasn't that, and this dog feels like you are unfair, your timing's bad, or you're a bumbling idiot. I mean, it's honestly, that's what they think. So you've got to run damage control. You've actually got to go back, way back. The ones I see it happens. I mean, it will happen when they're at a distance from the handler, but it's something dogs do all the time, and you've just got to make a note of it. But if you're activating the collar and it's shaking its head either before or after, you did that. If you're the only person that collar conditioned that dog, you've got to say to yourself, maybe my relationship with the dog, hey girl, hi Joe, Joe, Jill, Courtney, oh, you see that all the time? Oh, okay, yeah, oh, yeah, okay, that's true, that's true. Yes, yes, oh, he's got something in his ears. Yes, yes, his ears are bothering him. But that's what it is. I can show you video after video where these dogs get in little minor squabbles with dogs that they know very well, and they all do the shake off, which is just externalizing internal conflict. You can't keep doing that forever, though, because it's cumulative. You can shake it off and get rid of some of it, but they don't forget, so, I mean, you're going to have to fix it, or you're never going to have the dog trained as good. And I'll go find that video of Scarlet. She'll run and shake her head. And the problem with that is if you're using the collar to make a dog go here, there, and the other, I can tell you that's not, shaking as they're running along isn't, there's a loss of focus, when they're doing that. And if they're doing that around you and you're not noticing, they're giving you a signal. Oh, hi, Shy. They're giving you a signal all the time, but that you're not noticing it. They're just, honestly, every time it does that and you don't notice and you don't start running damage control, it's adding up. It's adding up. It's adding up until one day the wheels fall off. That's what they call it in dog training. Yes. In handling, okay, so if you're handling, yeah, oh no, I can imagine, Courtney, I can imagine. If you're handling a dog at any kind of distance and you give it a nick and it turns around and gives a shake, you got yourself a problem. I'm not the only one that notices this, Courtney. So, that's what you guys have to do. If you're getting that all the time, you might need to say, maybe it's my methodology. I mean, there's techniques, there's methodologies, there's, whatever your technique with that methodology is maybe what's not working, so, and I don't see it in my pager conditioned puppies. I'm just going to tell you right now, occasionally you might want to have one that might initially do it because they didn't understand, but then it goes away. People that use constant all the time, I think, see it a lot more. And if you said, what is the cumulative effect? The dog it's slowing down because it's focusing more of its mind on the fact that it really honestly is, if you say that's relationship building, I promise you it's not. If you've got a dog doing that, you're going to run into a glass ceiling. It's just going to take a little bit longer, but you're eventually, oh, hey girl. I'm sure you see it, Courtney, where the wheels fall off. They think everything's going good, and then they get out, and then something happens. Oh, you see it a lot in the water. Okay. So they refuse, and then they just shake instead. Hi, Eileen. I need to start watching a lot closer. Yeah, so anyway, any kind of shaking with an electronic collar, a pinch collar dogs do it all the time, too. And I'll tell you, when I see it with those kind of dogs, the second they take the collar off, The dog goes, "Oof." There's a lot of dogs, if you take any collar off of them, they do that. And you have to say to yourself, how did the dog come to that conclusion? I think that's more than anything what you guys have to say to yourself. How did this dog come to the conclusion that me activating that collar equals conflict? And, oh yeah, oh no, scratching. Well, yeah, yeah, no, I'll tell you, uh, which one is a scratcher? That new one I got in that was conditioned with the sport dog. He's a neck scratcher. And that, if you said which of the two is worse, the shake off is worse. The scratching is honestly, uh, they're not really blaming you for that. That's the upside of the scratching, Courtney. They're just blaming life, and so, but that's not helping your big picture either. I've had a lot of scratchers, and if you said which ones, um, labs with maybe strong-willed, little bit less tractability, and absolutely no sensitivity whatever to the collar. That you could just attempt that rather than just, and who knows, maybe that's the scratch off. Maybe that's even one level above the shake off. It's just, I'm not even going to give you that credit, lady. I'll just scratch at this thing. Uh, and that is, and if you said, and I'm glad you brought that up too, Courtney, because some of that scratching is you accidentally tapping into the wrong muscle memory. You're tapping into the wrong muscle memory. So it's just bringing out that reflex. And if you said, what other ways do people bring out that reflex? You get these idiots, where they start scratching the dog's stomach. Those are almost maybe even worse than the head patters. Next thing, you've got this dog scratching its leg like there's no tomorrow. And you want to just say to these people, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this? So it is easy. If you said, okay, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Courtney. If you said, what is easier to trigger in a dog, the shake off or the scratch reflex? I would say probably it's fairly easy to trigger either one, but in any dog, it would be easier to trigger the scratch reflex because any dog already has that. Some dogs haven't had, you know, they're naive to the conflict shake off up to that point in their life. Even though I've got videos of itty teeny tiny puppies doing the shake off before they even have teeth. They're biting at the other ones, they're gumming the other one's ear, and then the other one, the little puppy kind of, like a little mini shake offs. Anyway, you guys, take notes. That's why you've got to videotape your training. If I didn't videotape the training, I wouldn't know what it was, and I would make it more incidental. I now understand if you see that, you better run damage control, and that if what you're doing with the collar is trying to use it as a steering wheel to direct the dog, not as a source of punishment, the pager should not, if you introduce it right through the pager, it shouldn't be a conflict thing. Because even if the dog initially thought it was a conflict, it would figure out it wasn't. So it would stop doing that. But once they think constant's a conflict, or once you use it too high, honestly, it's moronic. It's moronic. Then you're not going to get that. You want to think of your initial thing that you're doing with the collar is jettisoning the dog. If it can't jettison and shake at the same time. So if it's shaking, if you've got dogs shaking their heads on sendaways or recalls or whatever, you've done something wrong. And so I don't know if Scarlett still did it, but once I noticed her doing it, and she ran off a lot when she was a puppy, though. I don't blame Mark and them for doing that, for, probably doing a lot of nick with her. One time Renee was walking her and she saw a skunk or something and took off 3 blocks away, and they found her sprayed by a skunk. Anyway, girl. All right, I'm gonna, all right, Courtney's got to get back to work there. She's hiding in the break room and they're calling her out there. They're intercomming her to get back to work. I don't know, girl. I might come get a job there. If they have any openings for like a puppy trainer or anything, I might want to come there and get a job. So anyway, girl, thanks for your insight. And I'm getting ready to go out there, you guys, and do. But yeah, I'm really glad Courtney came. And for you guys that don't know Courtney, she's my friend that works at K2, and she trains service dogs, and she's a very amazing trainer. And that's a very serious place. If you said where, if you said between K2 and Triple Crown Academy, which one would be considered the most ahead of their time, I would say K2 is at least, with the training they're doing, at least a decade ahead of their time. And probably 30 years ahead of a lot of these second world countries, because they got guys who could train qualified all age dogs and set them to use training dogs to find bombs. It was, and you couldn't get a job there if you didn't know how to force fetch and collar condition and all that. They wouldn't even hire you. So they weren't getting a bunch of idiots that didn't, that couldn't. You had to be able to run a blind at 250 meters. You had to be able to show these people, I can train a dog to run a blind at 250 meters, or they wouldn't even look at you. They wouldn't even look at you. They would say, you're an idiot. That's why I couldn't get a job there. Mark worked there. Oh, Mark worked there for a long time. I think Mark worked there, and then the second day he worked there, they made him team leader or whatever. Very smart. Anyway, you guys, I've got to go. I'm going out there right now to do some videos, and I'm going to post that video of Scarlett. It would be a YouTube video. I'm going to go find it, though, of Scarlett doing the shake off. And you guys just be on the lookout. If it does that, you have to say to yourself, it's sad. I know. It's sad because I don't want to have to do it either, but I'm not what I thought I was to this animal because they can't. People can keep it in. People, hey, JD, people might have to keep it in. You know what I mean? If you work with somebody and they're constantly, just the sound of their voice, oof, and that's what it is. If you guys just think of something where you just, oof, that's what the shake off is. It's, and other animals do it too. Other animals do it too. People do it, dogs do it, but if they're doing it in conjunction with you activating the collar, you did something wrong and you've got to change your methodology. I change my methodology almost daily. It seems like. So anyway, be on the lookout, videotape everything, even if you're not uploading it, but the best way to get better is the details, because if you said the details don't matter, it's like, that's everything. That's the difference between people that are good and people that are really good and people that are great, is minor little details. I mean, it's even, like if you think about anything, NASCAR, anything, where you've got people that have got, all the same tools, you know, they're all the same tools. And so, that's what we have to think of. Everybody's got the same tools. So anyway, we've got to get rid of the shake off, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do, I'll do that new little puppy because he's got the scratching thing. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Courtney. So scratching at the neck, the best thing you can do, and that's a training error too, really. And some of that I honestly just let go unless it gets annoying. Remy used to do it. Your best bet if they start to do that is understand I've inadvertently triggered the scratch reflex. And I'm not sure, maybe if that did happen, you guys, maybe rotating your box or something might help, because once you've triggered that little muscle set right there and they've started scratching, I'll tell you, it's going to be hair triggered, to hit that button again, again, again. So if that happens, and it happens it only happens with stimulus. I really don't think it happens with the pager, but it happens in dogs that you've got to use. And so they're just, what that is they're just absorbing it. They're doing several things with stimulus. They're doing really only three things though. They're channeling the stimulus and they're doing what you want. They're absorbing it, internalizing it, or they're externalizing it, which is either yelping, shaking, running off, or whatever. That's externalizing it. Channeling it, they're doing exactly what you want extremely fast. And Courtney will tell you. She had to go back to work, but she'll tell you. That's channeling. And then externalizing, screaming and all that, internalizing that's when it's going to add up, and then you're going to get the blowback later on. So anyway. All right, guys, I hope you guys like that, and I will go out there. I'm going to go out there and do a few videos. So be right back.